What's up, guys? Jacob Ober here. Welcome to another episode of BrewTalk, and unfortunately we're going to be talking about a loss instead of a win tonight. I was thoroughly expecting a win when the rain delay ended. A 2-hour rain delay in the top of the 8th ended, and the Brewers came to bat with 2 on and 1 out in the top of the 8th. They were up 3-1 at the time, and I was thinking they were going to win the game. Evidently not. The Brewers failed to score in that inning when they loaded the bases, and Manny Pena popped out to the first baseman, and then in the bottom of that inning, Joakim Soria came on and got the first 2 outs, and then proceeded to load the bases for our good old buddy Dan Jennings, who once again did not come through. And to be honest, I mean, once again, this is an example of Craig Counsell just completely blowing it on the bullpen end of managing. Like, he just doesn't know how to manage a bullpen. Hear me out here. Now, a lot of people might say that, well, Hader's pitched Wednesday and Thursday, and he got a day off on Friday, but he's pitched a lot the past week or so. Well, so is Dan Jennings. I mean, didn't Dan Jennings pitch for the past 5 days? And he also got injured in that one game against the Reds, too, so why does he get more to work with in a week than Josh Hader? Like, I feel like we use Dan Jennings as much as we use Josh Hader, and that's not a winning formula at all. I don't understand that in the slightest, and to be honest, I don't understand why Craig Counsell continues to go to guys like Dan Jennings in high leverage situations like that. Like, there's 2 outs, there is the bases loaded, it is the bottom of the 8th, you have a 1-run lead, and you have one of the best left-handed hitters in the game coming up in Juan Soto. Isn't that the perfect situation for Josh Hader? That's literally, like, you bring him on for a situation exactly like that. You bring him in to get the final 4 outs. You bring him in to get that out, and then you trot him back out for the 9th to get the final 3 outs. That's a perfect situation for him, right? This is a big game. I don't care about overworking guys. Josh Hader was a starter at Colorado Springs, and he was a starter for the majority of his professional baseball career. So why do we continue to refuse to use Hader as if his arm is going to fall off if we pitch him more than 3 days in a week? I don't understand that from a fan's perspective. Now, of course, I don't know. I'm not a manager. I don't work in the MLB. I'm not familiar with the intricacies of the game like Craig Counsell is. But to me, it seems absurd that a guy like Josh Hader has pitched as little as he has in the past month or so. It really, truly does. And this was a situation where we needed to see Josh Hader. This is a big, big game. If the Brewers win this game, which they should have, they would have taken back the top wildcard spot in the National League over the Cardinals, who lost tonight. They would have been a full game up. But no, I mean, Craig Counsell trusts Dan Jennings, who was like 0 for the past million and getting left-handed hitters out in situations like that, over Josh Hader, because apparently Josh Hader is overworked, even though Dan Jennings has actually pitched more than Josh Hader in this past week. I don't understand that. I don't know why it happens. I don't know why it continues to happen. And to be honest with you, it's borderline insane. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result. And it's always the same result, actually. But Craig Counsell thinks it's going to result in an out. It never does. I mean, you can play the analytics all you want, but at the end of the day, Dan Jennings has not gotten the lefties out when we needed him to. So I don't know why you continue to go to him in high leverage situations like this, especially considering the circumstances of tonight, how the Cardinals lost, how this is a game in which the Brewers can take the lead in the National League wildcard race. This is a pennant race. This is September. This is September 1st now. The Brewers are 76-61. They should have been 77-60 if Craig Counsell would have used the bullpen the way he should have. But instead, once again, he makes the same mistake over and over again, expecting a different result than last time when it was obvious to everyone on planet Earth who was watching that game that Dan Jennings wasn't going to get that out. I mean, honestly, when I saw Dan Jennings come out, I was like, yeah, I know how this story ends. I've seen it a million times. I saw it in person a few times. It's just so ridiculous how it continues to happen. And we're going to be stuck with it, guys. Like, as long as Craig Counsell is managing this Brewers team, we're going to continue to see the same thing. We're just going to continue to see the best arms in this bullpen conserved for guys who are middle-inning relievers who are very mediocre. Dan Jennings is not a guy who was originally intended to be brought on in a lefty-lefty situation. He's not a situational pitcher. he is a guy who you bring on in the middle of a game in like the 6th inning when the Brewers have a 5-1 lead or something. He's not a guy that you bring in to get one out with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th inning with the Brewers having a chance to win the game by 1 run when there is a chance to also go up a game in the National League wildcard race. This is a pennant race. This is not time to screw around with Dan Jennings. It's time to use our best to get to where we want to go. And Craig Counsell continues to not do that. So there you have it. That's all I really have to say about the game. Of course, there was also the rain delay that might have affected the Brewers. They did load the bases in that top of the 8th after the rain delay, but they did not score any runs. And then, of course, I mean, the rain delay went on for a long time. I was expecting the game to get called and the Brewers to end up winning, but honestly, I don't know how long they let these rain delays go, but it was a very long time. But I'm not going to blame that for this loss. The Brewers should have won regardless, and to me, the majority of the blame lies on Craig Counsell. Of course, you can't put all of it on Craig Counsell because Dan Jennings once again failed to get one out that he was asked to get out, you know, and of course, Joakim Soria got the first 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th and then proceeded to walk like the next 2 batters and load the bases and all that fun stuff that we've seen a million times before this season, but anyways, guys, I mean, that's all I really have to say. If we continue to see games like this is the consistency part that I have been talking a lot about. The Brewers cannot seem to be consistent enough. They cannot seem to keep momentum going. They get a little bit of momentum, and then they have a game like this where it just all gets washed away. The Brewers have a big series coming up against the Cubs. They can't afford to lose a game like this against the struggling Nationals. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully my next Brew Talk is a win. We get to talk about something a lot more fun to talk about. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.